Look what I just bought. Welcome back to Jetboat Mayhem. I'm so excited to share this with you guys. So this is a 1995 GMC Yukon, two-door, four-wheel drive with a 6.5 turbo diesel. And I am so pumped about this. This has been like the most fun thing to find and buy, and I'll tell you why. So back in 2004, I bought one of these from Pennsylvania. It was black, it was beautiful, and had a 6.5 turbo diesel in it. I love diesels, so I was all excited about it, and I just fell in love with it, and it was such an awesome truck. I had all kinds of stuff done to it, but it was all budget stuff. So being that I was a teenager, you know, obviously funds were a little short, so I had to kind of rig some stuff up and do some things, but it still ended up having awesome power. I absolutely loved it, and it was so great. I had my daily driver for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, and when I was in the Marine Corps, in 2009, I was deploying to Afghanistan, and like a lot of Marines do, they sell their cars before they leave so they don't have to pay storage fees. We stored my wife's car. That was something that I have always regretted. I've always missed. I've always been like, these things are just absolutely awesome. So I ended up finally deciding I was gonna buy one, but I wasn't gonna just buy it. I was gonna fully redo it and make it everything that I wanted it to be. My daily driver right now is a 2022 Chevy Suburban High Country. So I absolutely love it. It's awesome. It does everything I need it to do. It's got a ton of power. It has a 6.2 in it, and I just absolutely love it. But I always loved this style of SUV because of how practical they are and how useful they are. So the reason I'm sharing it on the channel, you're like, okay, this is not a jet boat. Why in the world are you talking about it on Jetboat Mayhem? But here's the deal. I decided since I was doing this that there's a lot of people out there that would probably like to see all the stuff that's gonna be done to this, probably wanna see the before and after. And so for that reason, I'm deciding to turn it into a series and show you guys the full build. It's gonna happen very quick. So here's a list of some of the things that are gonna be done. So it's obviously gonna get a new grille. This one's busted up on the other side. It's gonna get new rims and tires, all right? I've got a new turbo for it. I have a new interior out of a 2016 Yukon Denali, leather interior, heated and cooled power seats, really pumped about that, and the third row as well. So it'll get new carpet inside. It's gonna get an infotainment center as well with Android Auto. And it's also gonna get full suspension. So we're gonna redo the entire suspension up front. Literally every suspension component up front is gonna get swapped out because this thing's got 180,000 miles on it. So at 180,000 miles, your ball joints are getting loose, all kinds of things are starting to get sloppy, and so you end up with this terrible driving experience. So the way to get rid of that is to essentially to freshen it up by getting all new stuff. It's gonna be nice and tight, should be a really great experience, and it's gonna get a 3-inch lift, so that'll be also a really good thing that happens. We're gonna put some gauges in there so that we know about the boost. Obviously, you don't upgrade your turbo unless you have a boost gauge, so you know where you're at. The turbo is already preset with 20 PSI wastegate, so that'll be more than we're actually ever gonna make probably. But the neat thing about these is that this is a really kind of a somewhat rare truck. There's less of them on the road every year, and in 95, they only made 6% of these as diesels. So the 6.5 was kind of a, you know, kind of new at that point, is only a few years old. And so GM had been, you know, putting it out there, but in these, they put a lot of 350s in them. And, you know, and some of them got the 6.5s, but it was a special order. So you had to order the Yukon with it. See more Suburbans and Yukon full-size 4-doors. You know, you'll see those ones running around with it a little more than you'll see these guys, which is why I wanted to go ahead and do this. So the exciting part about this is it doesn't have any rust on it. I mean, to speak of.
Like, this is all really in good shape.
And so because it's really strong structurally, it's a great platform to build off of. So I'm really excited about that. These 6.5s have a lot of power if you know what to do with them. Oh, the other thing that's gonna be so awesome that I'm doing with this is it's gonna have out the hood exhaust. And that might seem like a super hillbilly thing to do, but I kind of think it's gonna be really awesome, and I don't think it's gonna be that loud. You know, being that it's gonna be pointed straight up, I kind of don't think it's gonna be too bad. Worst case scenario, if it ends up being terrible, you know, I can always just buy a new hood. The last thing about this that's really interesting is somebody did a great bed liner paint job on it. So pretty much you can do whatever you want to this and it's not gonna scratch. So we've got that going for us. It's gonna get towing mirrors, so those are over there. It's gonna be a really fun build for me. This is like, you know, one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. To tell you guys a little story about why this is, I guess, so exciting to be doing this with my son. My dad was this, you know, mechanically inclined guy. He actually pushed me into working on vehicles and stuff myself. So I bought this 1989 Pontiac Sunbird with a blown motor in it. I got it from my sister and she basically just gave it to me because it wasn't worth anything. So I ended up taking this thing. My dad took me to the junkyard. We found an engine for it that was supposedly a working engine. So essentially he took me out in the garage. We put that thing up on jack stands and he started pointing and saying, take this off and then come get me. So I'd go working at it, taking it off, you know, this thing, that thing, working the way down, taking everything off, getting it ready. And then when it came time to pull the engine, he helped me with that. And then when it came time to swap everything over, he just was like, hey, see all this stuff? You need to take it off and put it on that engine so that that engine works. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me. So I started swapping off the intake manifold, the exhaust manifold, you know, all the peripherals, the starter, and, you know, the accessories, all that stuff. And put it on the new engine, put it in there, and like to my surprise, this thing actually fired up and worked and ran really, really good. That was where it all started for me, and had my dad not pushed me into that and kind of just was like, hey, well, do this. And really, I think what was cool is he had the confidence in me that I could actually pull that kind of build off. So I'm super grateful for having had an experience like that. A lot of people don't, but that kind of sent me into this thing where now I have no fear about, you know, tearing down almost anything. I always tell people I can build or fix anything. So that's kind of why you might be seeing some different things on the channel. Not just jet boats, of course, I love them, but I've got a new boat to introduce to you guys. I haven't done that yet, and so I'm really pumped to do that. Of course, we have more mini jet stuff coming up, but this series is gonna be all about the 95 Yukon build, and it's gonna be super awesome. These will be separated out by, you know, towing mirrors with turn signals, you know, and we'll do that. And then it'll be episode 2, you know, turbo and engages, you know, stuff like that. And it'll be broken up, so it'll be also helpful and valuable content for anybody else that wants to do this to their truck as well. So hopefully you guys find this valuable. I think it's going to be really fun. I think it's going to be neat to have on the channel. And probably the best part for me is I'm going to get to watch this forevermore. And having Gunner on here, he's 10, so it'll be fun to have him doing some of the stuff and showing him how to do. He's super smart. Hopefully I can give him the same experience that my dad gave me, where he has the confidence to tear into projects and make things happen and build things just like this. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so excited that you're here to comment and share what you think. No doubt there's going to be some entertaining things and some stuff that goes on that people are going to have an issue with, because I don't know everything, and sometimes my idea of the way to do things is not some of yours. So I'm also looking forward to hearing back in the comments some of the things that you guys who are far more experienced than me can point out. In the Hamilton, jet series that I did, it was actually really helpful. So many people went on there and commented, and I learned a ton from the comments. So feel free to do that in this series as well. As always, let's go jet boat.